It's a hot day here in central Iowa today. I'm not sure what the temperature is, but once again, very humid. Well, look who's here. What do you think, Mox? Back to work on the truck today. I don't know if you can see or not, it's a little bit cooler in the shop here, but the floor is starting to get wet because it's so humid out. So I noticed in my last video, I have the overhead door open and the camera got a little fuzzy a couple times. It was trying to focus outside instead of where it was supposed to, so I'm going to try to avoid that this time. Cab corners. We're going to get these suckers welded in today. I hope. I already measured this out and I put my tape on where I want to cut it out. And I just measured up from this body line here, and I think I left a little bit of extra on there. That's better than not leaving enough. It's kind of hard to jump that gap with an arc sometimes. So I am going to cut this top part off, and then we'll stick it on the truck and see how off I was. So we got our panel cut out. Ouch! Our sharp panel cut out, and now of course I'm bleeding. I can't do anything without cutting myself. I got this cut out. I haven't tried fitting it up yet. I'll take this tape off. And I always go along this edge. Number one, it's sharp and you'll cut your damn finger on it. But two, these little pieces, you probably, I don't know if you can even see them, these little pieces you can get hung up on the edge of this and it'll throw you off on if it's going to fit up or not. So I'm going to go ahead and knock all these off. And once you get all the edges knocked off, they're not all knocked off yet. Once you get all those sharp edges knocked off, or most of them, you can try fitting it up. I sprayed all this with weld through primer, a little bit of a rust preventative, corrosion preventative. When you weld on it, I'm going to be coating the edge of, the inside edge of this as well. When I go to weld, when you do a butt weld like that up in here, if you have weld through primer on that, it kind of melts and then it re-solidifies and give you a little bit of rust protection along that edge. Really not a lot else you can do until you're all done. If you can get some kind of a wand or something up in here and coat the shit out of it with something. I'm thinking of using fluid film. I'm gonna get a couple of magnets and I'll show you how I do this. Be right back. I'm back. Now first off, before I get started, let it be known I am in no way, shape, or form a professional. I'm just a hobbyist, I guess you would call it. And this is just how I do it. Is it right, wrong, indifferent? It's the way I do it. So if you have a better way of doing this, post it in the comments down below and share with myself and everyone else. So we'll try fitting this up here and see how it's going to go. I think it's a little big. It's not too bad, but it's a little big. Have I mentioned yet today it's getting hot? We're not sitting too bad here. I got a little finagling left to do. We got a, lighting isn't real good. We got a gap there and it's butted up real tight there and right in there and right there, and it needs to move forward just a smidge. The back of it here where it's sticking out, I did that. I kind of bent it out like that. Probably get it welded up front first and then bend that around the back, get everything fitting up good. The way I trim these to fit, this needs to move up just a little bit to fit properly. And so I'm going to take where it's hitting, see if I can get this magnet off here without the whole thing crashing. Where it's hitting, like right now from about there over to somewhere right in here. And that's how I do it. I mark it and then I'll take wherever the hell it went. Yeah, right down there. I'll take my sanding disc along it and I'll just start removing material and fitting it back up, removing and fitting it back up until I get it to fit the best that I can. So I'm going to keep on doing this, just marking off those spots, and then I'm going to sand it down and we'll fit her back up here in just a little bit. So I just got done fitting and trimming and fitting and trimming, and I think I got it up there pretty good. Like I said, this back part I'm probably going to do, get my shadow out of the way, probably do that last. Get this welded in up here, and then push that around the back there. A little gap between them right in there, that's about perfect. The body lines look like they're lining up okay. So I think we're about ready to weld this thing in. Got a little bit of a gap towards the back, right in there, and that will push up a little bit. It just doesn't want to cooperate very much, but I will get it. That's how she's looking so far. I think the body lines are lining up. It's pushed up. I've got it up as far as I can go, I believe, so that's where it has to sit. So I'm not sure if it's the... If anything, it looks like it might be sitting just a smidge lower than the door. But if anything, I think that front fender might sit just a smidge lower than the door. It's awful damn close. I think when it's all painted white, unless you're just being nitpicky about things, I don't think you'd even notice it. But I will get it in there as good as I can. It looks like I may be hitting right. I might be hitting right in there, so I might be able to knock that down a little bit, and it might slide up, but I don't know, it looks pretty sticking out from the door just a little bit too. So I'm gonna knock that little corner off right up there and see if that makes any difference. So I've got this panel so it fits up there pretty good. I knocked that, wherever it is, which knocked this corner down, and that did help things a little bit. And I noticed down here, this actually sticks out just a smidge past the door too. Up here, all the way up it does. So the door just may need to be adjusted out a little bit. So I think we're right where we need to be. And so the next thing I do is I go along both sides of this panel on the, you can see me, on the inside and on the outside, and take off some of this paint so you got clean metal to weld on. You don't really want to remove material, you just want to get the paint off. Just kind of like that. And you want to go all the way, anywhere you're going to be welding, you want to remove the paint. So I got all the paint taken off around where I'm going to be welding on this. And now I'm gonna take a break because I'm getting hot. Before I do that, I'm going to spray some weld-through primer all along the inside of this. I'm not going to spray it on the outside because with weld-through primer on the outside, sometimes you get a lot of spatter with it. Although I did see some kind of weld-through primer. I can't remember what it was. I just happened to see it last night, I think. It's made for spraying metal that is exposed. Like if you're storing metal outside or something, you can spray this primer on it, and then you can weld right through it. You don't have to take it off before you weld. I am going to take that little bit of paint off, and then I'm going to spray the inside with weld-through primer. So I've got the panel in place, and we're ready to get some welding done. Still a bit of a gap there at the back, but I think that's going to be fine. I'll go over the welder real quick. It's a Thermal Arc. What is it? Thermal Arc 181i, I believe. Yeah, 181i. And according to the chart inside the door, which pretty much all welders will have a chart, and it'll tell you what your settings, it gives you a starting point for your settings. And I don't remember what I used when I did my green truck, and it probably wouldn't matter if I did. But this says to start at 260 for the wire speed and 14.3 for the voltage. So that's where I'm going to start. Also using argon shielding gas, which I assume I have plenty left, unless it all leaked out. Yeah, good to go on that. Looks like it might be turned up plenty high. So I'm going to try to record this. I'm not sure, I've never recorded welding before, so I'm not sure how this is going to go. I do have another welding helmet that maybe I could put the camera behind that. I'm not sure how this is going to work. And the way you want to weld this is heat is your enemy. So probably going to start off by putting a tack weld up in here somewhere, and then another one, I don't know, here or maybe here, and then just kind of work my way back. You don't want to get too much heat into this. If you get too much heat into it, it's going to cause warpage, and you want to avoid that if you can. Warpage is your enemy. So then once you get it kind of tacked into place, then you start adding on to the tacks. You don't run a bead on it at all. You just you put a tack and then spread them out, let it cool down a little bit, and then you come back, you put another tack, and you just keep adding on to them. And it takes quite a while. So I think for this video anyway, I'm not going to show this whole process of building a bead out of tacks, but that's how you do it. You put one tack in, and then another one, and another one, and another one, until you have a continuous bead along that. And then you go back with your sanding disc and grind that weld down. And if you're real good, you can get it so you don't hardly need any filler to smooth things out. It's pretty time consuming because you just put one little tack, and another one, another one, and then you start in on that tack, and then add to this one, add to that one, and let it cool down. And you can't hardly wait long enough to let it cool down. You just keep heat away from it as much as you can, or you're going to wish that you did. I'd rather it take all day to put in a patch panel than get it done in an hour and the side of your truck looks like bacon. So let the fun begin, and I am wearing the proper welding attire: shorts, tennis shoes, and a t-shirt. Yeah. Guys, it's freaking hot in here. And that's all there is to it. And then when you add your second tack onto these, kind of shoot for the middle of that one, and then bring it over this way. I don't know how to show this on camera. Well, I've got a few welds on here now, enough to show you something anyway. I tell you, it's just too damn hot out here right now. I'm gonna probably wait till tonight and come out here and weld the rest of this up. It does take a while because you just have to let it cool down. And I am not by any means the world's greatest welder, and I haven't really welded anything since I did my green truck. Nothing to speak of anyway. That one's kind of gloppy, but that's about what they should look like, or that's not too bad. I had one there, and then I took you'll probably hear me say grinder. It's not really the grinder, it's that sanding disc, and went over it. And that's what it should look like all along this when it's done. It should just blend the top into the bottom. So I just ground that one down to show you real quick. So I think that's going to be it for this video. I'll get the rest of this welded up, and you'll see that in my next video. I have the other side to do as well. It is getting extremely hot. It's very hot, very humid, and very uncomfortable. But I got a few welds on there, tacks on there. I think I'm going to come out later tonight, or either tonight or early tomorrow morning before it gets hot. Finish welding this up and grind the weld down, sand the weld, grind, and I will show you what that looks like in my next video, which hopefully I will get up in the next day or two. So I need to finish welding this in, grind all the welds down, do the other side, and then after that we'll put some body filler on it and smooth everything out. I need to do that on some spots on the hood too, but that'll be next after doing all this. But this is going to take a little while. Grinding the welds down isn't difficult. You just go over it with that sanding disc. But you can get too much heat doing that as well. It takes a lot, but you can. So just be careful and avoid getting too much heat in this thin metal. It'll warp on you. If there's something you want to see more of or explain better or something before I get done with this, hurry up and comment down below. The mailbox is still set up, still want to do the license plate wall. That's in the description down below. Please subscribe, comment, give it a thumbs up, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.